And we're live. It's a one-woman show, okay? I have to wear my Apple Watch to sync up to my camera to make sure I'm recording, and then I hit record for the audio. Hi guys, it's Van, and welcome back to It Is What It Is with Van. I'm Van. In this current moment that I'm recording this episode on August 26th, I'm still 28. I am still just a young buck, you know what I mean? I'm really flourishing, enjoying every second of it, but I'm reflecting, okay? I'm a Virgo, I am emotional, I'm on my period, which is like a really good way to go out of your 28th year. And so as I'm being emo, I thought, you know what would be a great episode? I'll tell you, is to kind of sit back and reflect to my fellow friends in their 20s or older, whoever, wherever. And like we can just talk about what we learned on our 28th year here. Because when I look back, from like my birthday last year, 27, to turning 28, it's crazy. It's crazy how different my life is. And it's not just like, oh my God, haha. So, no, like my life was so different. Like I was living in this apartment with my significant other. You know who I live with in this apartment now? Bestie girl Jordan. Like life is so different, and it's kind of hilarious because I go to the same restaurant every year to have my birthday dinner, and it's like so funny how insanely different it is going to be this year. I want to sit back. I wrote some like lessons that I've learned. Don't worry, there's not 28 of them, but just some really good lessons that I feel like, I don't know, maybe other people have also learned, or maybe if you feel really lost in your 20s, I have some good tips maybe. Maybe I can give hope. I don't know, because I feel like I had one hell of a whirlwind year, and if like I could get through 28, I think I am God. You know what I mean? So sit back, relax, no matter your age. If you are past 28, maybe you can look back with me and reflect and be like, yeah. And then you can also give me tips of like, okay, but when you turn 30, bitch, you are going to think that 29 was insane. And if you're in your young 20s and you think that getting older is scary, it is. So that's that. But it's also beautiful, and there's so much to learn, and there's like, let's just sit down. Let's unpack this, okay? I'm not wearing pants, so I keep getting scared that my blanket is falling down. So if you see me constantly looking, that's why. And I have to constantly look at my watch to make sure we're still recording. So let's get into this. Okay. So I reflected today. You know what I mean? I'm still 28. I have a couple more days. By the time this comes out, I will be 29. So very exciting. We'll see what life is like then. But, okay. Are we ready, friends? Let's giggle at the lessons I've learned and maybe give hope to others. And maybe you just won't have to learn this lesson the hard way, and you can just listen to me, and then we won't have to go through it together, okay? So that's what the end game of this is. I don't know, whatever we want to call them. Lessons, silly things, just stick with me, you know what I mean? It's moments that we figured life out, and these are going to be the moments, and I'm going to share them with you, and then you're not going to make the same mistakes I did. And if you have, or you do, then you won't feel so alone, right? That's what this whole podcast is about. Let's get into it. Okay. First lesson I learned at 28. This is an important one because this happened to me during my beautiful 28th year on this planet. If you have to ask your significant other every day if they think you're pretty, or if they think you're beautiful, or it's date night and you are dressed to the nines and you walk out and they say nothing, and then you have to ask for a compliment, hold my hand when I tell you this. That is not your soulmate, okay? And that's a lesson I learned this year. That's not your soulmate. It's embarrassing that I was 28 years old when I was learning this, and then I stayed in that relationship. But that is not your soulmate. You shouldn't question if your significant other thinks you're beautiful. You shouldn't question if they want you. You shouldn't question if they think you're cute. God forbid. Cute? Are you kidding me? That is the easiest compliment you can give someone. I actually hate being called cute because it makes me, that's a whole other thing. We won't get into it. But like, you can't even say that. Like, I have to be like, do you think I'm cute? Do you know how embarrassing that is to look back on? at the fact that I would be dressed to the fucking nines. I'd put my little heels on, wear something really cute, do my makeup, do my hair, take 2 goddamn hours to get ready. And I would walk out and my partner would be like, so you ready? You want to know something worse? That I would walk around this house naked and not even get a double take. Like, that's not your soulmate. Your soulmate should be obsessed with you. And that's a lesson I learned, okay? Because guess what? We're not together anymore. That wasn't my soulmate. You know why? He wasn't in love with me. Learned that the hard way. Okay, so take that from me. If you are having to ask for these bare minimum little compliments, reassurance, gestures, all of that, they're not your soulmate. If your partner doesn't want to date you, that's not your soulmate. If you have to ask them like, wow, I would really love a gift on Valentine's Day, or like, wow, I would really love to be taken out for my birthday. Babe, that's not your soulmate, okay? That is not your soulmate. And in another episode, I'll go into detail about the difference between that and like situation I am in now, or even after I broke up. Like, just the difference of being with someone that vocalizes every single day how into you they are. You know what I mean? And not in a weird love bomby way where it's like you don't even open your eyes and you've already had like 500 texts sent to you. Just like normal things, like you send them a picture and they actually think you're beautiful and hype you up, or you just, yeah. So if you're having to beg for the bare minimum or ask them if like, do you think I'm cute? That's not your soulmate. You don't have to ask your soulmate that. And I'm sorry to be the one to tell you that, but that's not your soulmate. It's not because, oh, they don't like to give words of affirmation. Oh, he's quiet. Oh, he's shy. No, you're dating, especially if you're living with them. No, it's not just like, oh, the spark is gone. Like, no, if you think I'm beautiful, if you're into me, if you actually like me, you will let that be known. And especially the most embarrassing part is when you tell them like, hey, I really feel like I'm not beautiful in your eyes. If you feel this way, can you tell me? And then they're like, oh yeah, sure, sorry, I forget. You forget that you like me? Excuse me, am I crazy? You forget that you think I'm pretty? I have to remind you that? No, that's not your soulmate, okay? That's not your soulmate. We're moving on. I'm happy we could learn that lesson together. Second thing I learned at the beautiful age of 28 is real friends call you out on your shit. I do not want a bunch of friends that are yes men. No. Real friends also pick you the fuck up when you are crying on the floor, okay? It's like, it's two completely different ends of the spectrum, but both are so important. And I feel like I finally have that solid mix of having real, genuine friends that want the best for you. And I feel like a good example I can give is, as far as friends that call you out on your shit, is I feel like when I was younger 20s, I had really close friends that would hype me up on being toxic. And granted, like, yes, we were young, we were immature, like, we probably didn't even know better. But, like, you know when you're being crazy. And I think I had such close friends that would hype me up on that. Like, no, definitely do that, and definitely go through that, and definitely say that to him, and go off to him when it's like it wasn't warranted. You know what I mean? I would go to these close friends in times of being, like, really anxious and really insecure, and they would heighten that. Compared to now, I have friends where I will go to them and I'll be like, I'm thinking this, and this. Should I say something? And they'll be like, no, you shouldn't, because that's toxic. And you're over, and they say it with peace and love, you know what I mean? But they'll be like, no, you should trust this person. Or no, you don't really have like a leg to stand on. That's kind of just, you made that up in your head. And it's so refreshing. And it's refreshing because it weirdly helps my anxiety. I'm like, oh, okay. Whereas before, getting hyped up on those anxious thoughts just was feeding my anxiety. And now to have like real friends that just want the best for me and call me out on my shit, it also weirdly like helps silence that anxiety of like, oh no, you're just overthinking. Because I get like an outside perspective that doesn't have any, gain in this situation between me and someone else. And I feel like that happens a lot in like my romantic relationships. You know, that's where my anxiety really peaks is what I've learned. Another lesson I've learned is just because so much trauma and trust issues with past relationships. But having friends that are like, no, babe, you're being crazy. Shut up and sit down. And they'll even help me with those thoughts of not just calling me out, but making a solution. They're like, anytime you want to say X, Y, Z, run it through me first. And if I shut you down, then maybe let's just talk it out. Or you can type me what you would want to send them. And you know what I mean? So friends that just don't let you be toxic. Like, who would have thought? It's actually kind of nice. And granted, there's friends that, you know, the same friends will kind of be like, yeah, get it, girl. Like, they'll still hype my crazy in some other areas of my life, but it feels so good to have people that actually want the best for you and aren't just hyping up your insecurities just because they love the drama. And I feel like that's what I had a lot of in my younger 20s. Like, they just loved the chaos, and it made their lives not seem so chaotic. So they were like, hell yeah, I don't have any stake in the game. Like, let's fucking cause as many issues in your life, my life, as possible, because like, this is entertaining. And so that is a big lesson I've learned this year, is like having friends that'll call you out on your shit and not just hype you up in your craziness, toxic craziness. On the other spectrum is having those same friends that will pick you up when you are at your lowest points. And I could cry thinking about it, of how beautiful my friendships just, they, like, how much stronger they got through my breakup. And, you know, the friends I have now were the same friends I had when I was in a relationship, but the way that they grew and got stronger, and granted, a lot of my friends this year, you know, went through breakups, and there's a lot of things that happened that just, you know, built those bonds that were already there for years. But like, I think back to the night that I went through this breakup and who I called and who showed up and met me in a Ralph's parking lot and held me while I was crying, losing my mind, and stayed with me in that parking lot until 12 a.m., 1 a.m., stayed with me in my apartment until 3 in the morning, and they did not bat a fucking eye. And I think back to those, like, it was 2 months I was down pretty bad. Granted, I was living with my ex too, and it was the holidays, and there's a lot more, and I have a whole story time that we'll do on that. Oh my god. It's like those women, those, not even women, those women and guys, like, my friends saved me. And I think that is such a beautiful thing, to have those friendships. And that is something that I've learned, is like, those are your people. Those are your people for, like, I will love them for forever, because those are the friends that stuck with me from the moment it happened, answered the call, and came there for me. And those were the same friend, you know what I mean? And I had like different friends do different things. You know, I had the ones that were there for me the moment the breakup happened, and they live 40 minutes away, and they were fucking down here in the valley in 20. Like, it was amazing. It happened at like 9 p.m. on a Friday. And I think about the friends that would like take shifts on coming in and taking me to go eat breakfast because I couldn't eat for weeks, or the friends that would come here and clean my house and let me just sit on the couch because I was in such a horrible depressive state. And they would come, clean my house, make me food, make sure I ate. Like, all of my close friends did something in that sort, or it made like my random different groups of friends that I have closer and become one big group. You know what I mean? Because they all cared enough about me to communicate and to be like, hey, you're checking in on Savannah in the morning. Okay, I'll make sure I go over and I spend the night with her, because, you know, she can't be alone. It's just so vital. And I know I'm so lucky that I had a group, but if you are lucky enough to have one friend like that, two friends, like, it is not the quantity, it is the quality. And that is a huge, huge lesson that I learned this year, is to never take those friendships for granted. And if anything, I'm so grateful for my breakup, because it showed me that. Like, I always had love for those friends. You know, these are all friends that I've had for years. Seeing them step up like that, I was like, oh my god, you love me and I love you, and you are the same friend that in a couple months you're gonna call me out for being toxic. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, that fucking friendship is the most beautiful thing. And I have learned that, and I have become so appreciative of that, and I have watched my friendships blossom and grow so much, and I'm so thankful for that. I could go on and on what these friends did for me. You know, they helped move his shit out of my room and move new shit into here and build dressers and hang stuff on the wall and check in on me every single day. And you know, some of my best guy friends, did you eat today? Did you this? Like, that was also such a beautiful thing, is to see like your guy homies become like emotional and there for you in that way, and like have that kind of friendship grow and let you literally cry in their arms. I had that one of the nights where a couple of my friends, I think we were supposed to go see a movie, I don't even know, but they ended up coming over and I just was not okay. And you know what we did? He held me for about an hour while I cried, and then my girlfriend held me on the other end, and we just like cuddled up, and they both just let me sob. And that is the most beautiful fucking form of friendship. I don't care what you say. If you can fucking wipe the snot off of my nose, and then 6 months later you can be there for me while we're partying, having fun, like, that is just the most beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful for that. And I think if you have that in your life, it is the biggest blessing. So that is lesson 2, 3, I don't know, but real friends will call you out on your shit, and real friends will also be there the fucking second that you call them, no matter what, and hold you while you cry, and make sure that you eat, and take your mental health serious. And yeah, I don't think I've ever had that where I think that's another thing that became a realization for me at 28, was to voice my anxiety and like tell my friends about it. I think I always used to try and hold it in and act like I was okay, and that is another huge lesson I learned this year, is to voice my anxiety and voice my struggles. And I really, really did that this year. I was so scared to do that, and my friends or whoever I've ever opened up to has shown me nothing but love and taking it seriously. You know, I struggle really bad with depression. I struggle really, really bad with anxiety. Like, I always have. I'm medicated. I have my therapist, all the things. But, you know, when the breakup happened, my friends were like, what do we need to do? And how do we need to check in on you? Like, tell us specifically things that you struggle with. And I was like, wow, okay. I don't think I've ever had friends care enough before to ask me that. Or I guess no to ask me that, and it's because I opened up to them. You know, I was like, okay, I'll be honest, I'm gonna get really depressed and I probably won't eat. Like, sickly. And they're like, okay. And what do you know? Every single morning, one of my guy best friends would text me, did you eat? What did you eat today? Are you okay? Another one of my friends would do the same thing, and I'd be like, oh, I'm kind of struggling. They would show up to my house with food. Like, that shit is the most beautiful thing, is people that take your mental health seriously and show up for you in that way. So invest your time in those friendships is a huge lesson. Also, on the topic of friends, real friends won't judge you. I remember I would say some shit to some of my friends earlier 20s, even like 26, and I would feel so judged, or I would be my true self, which is fucking annoying. I'm an annoying person, but I would feel judged, or I just would feel like I can never be myself. And again, I feel like now, especially if you see me at that fucking low point, I just feel so accepted by my friends. I feel so seen. And even in aspects of like what I was originally thinking of is judge you in the way of like what you want to do with your life and your career. I feel like I've definitely had friends that would like, you know, oh, I want a podcast. Why would you want to do that? Everyone has a podcast. Whereas like my friends now that I've made, it's been like, yeah, why wouldn't you do a podcast? You know what I mean? They just hype you up in different ways. And I think I've learned this year that that is so important, because if you feel judged by your inner circle, like, you are going to judge yourself so much more than what you already are. But if you say those like scary thoughts that you have in your head, or if you say out loud things that you're already judging yourself for, and your inner circle hypes you up and gets you out of those bad thoughts, that does wonders for your mental health. So that's another lesson. Now, polar opposite. Another huge lesson I learned this year is alone time is so important, which granted, I've always known that. Like, I love being alone. That's why I also thrived being single for 3 years. I wouldn't say thrived, maybe I take that back, but like why I did not want to get in a relationship for so long, because I genuinely love me. I love me. I love my alone time. Like, that is something I've never struggled with. My therapist was asking me this last week about like why I can't accept love in relationships, and she's like, is it because you don't love yourself? And I was like, no, I think that that's the problem, is maybe I love myself too much. So I don't like, I don't accept any of this, you know? I mean, granted, that's not true because I've only ever accepted. Anyways, that's another thing. Point being, I love alone time. And this year, I think I like realized that because I was just in a relationship for 2 years. In my younger 20s, I couldn't be alone. In like my mid 24, 25, 26, loved being alone. I thrived being alone. I did not want anyone to like disrupt my peace and my alone time and who I was. 26, 27, 28 is when I was in a relationship, and we lived together, so I think I just didn't have alone time necessarily. I still tried to have like my moments. He would do his own thing, I would do my own thing. I had all of these same friends back then, and I would see them. Like, I've always been good about balancing that, but like I was never truly like alone. And 28, in this year specifically, like I found the beauty in that, and have fallen in love with that so much, and have realized how important it is to not just be like, oh yeah, I love alone time, like, oh, I'll have it when I have it, but like to be very diligent about that. And I think that is a big lesson I've learned, is like, for a while I was doing it where every Friday night, like I would stay in, I'd get high, or I'd watch a favorite movie, I'd make my favorite meal, I'd get takeout, but just like doing something that I know would make me happy, and doing something that I know would be very intentional. And that is a big thing I learned. It also really helps keep me grounded in a weird way, and like reflect on my week, and be able to show up for others correctly, and just reset. So I think that is so important. And I think in your 20s you can get so wrapped up in constantly going out, or constantly trying to do projects, or chasing your dreams, or you're this or you're that, or relationships or work, and to just make a promise with yourself that once a week at some point, it doesn't have to be the whole night, it can be an hour, it can be a face mask, it can be whatever brings you joy, but just to be intentional with like, I am going to take away all the distractions, put my phone on D&D, and just give myself me time. And that is a huge thing I learned this year. It's a big thing I learned 28. And it was nice to like remember that, because I definitely had lost that mid-20s. I think now going into 29, I'm going to be even more diligent about it and appreciate it more, and finding the beauty in journaling. I don't know, just really appreciating yourself and showing up for yourself and showing yourself that love. That was a big lesson I learned. And I would highly suggest that you do the same, is giving yourself one date night a week, or one date moment a week. You know what I mean? You can go give yourself coffee and actually sit at the coffee shop, or make mood boards on Pinterest, or take your dogs on a walk. Or actually, I take that back. Your date night, because I remember I was telling my therapist, like, oh, I'm doing this, and this. She was like, Savannah, it just sounds like you're doing like your errands. And I'm like, you're right. She's like, do something that is just for you, like not you giving your energy to anyone else. So be very intentional and give yourself a date night. Off of that topic, another lesson I learned, get the therapist. Get the therapist and get the good insurance. Obviously, like, granted, that is very privileged thing of me to say, and I'm very lucky that I'm able to get both of those. If you can't afford a therapist, or you can't get great health insurance, I feel you. I was on many things before I could actually have health insurance, but I think as you get older, and 28, I definitely had a lot of health scares this year. Definitely get your pap smear. Let me just say that, because that was a goddamn fucking health scare. Jesus Christ. When your pap smear comes back not good, yeah, get your paps. Ladies, I'm looking at you, obviously, but like, as we get older in our 20s, like, I don't, you know what I mean? I just get it. Invest in a good health insurance, invest in therapy and paying for that as often as you can go. Whether that be once a week, once every other week, once a month. I think just really investing in mental health and your health. Granted, I have a lot of health problems, and I'm very lucky that I'm able to have health insurance, even though the system, man, I pay like so much a month for health insurance, and then I still get a fat bill. But you know what? We have health insurance. It is what it is. Therapy, again, so grateful, thanks to my health insurance. But yeah, definitely invest in that. And if we can't have therapy sessions, invest in a good app. That's what I did for a while when I couldn't afford therapy. Good meditation app. I use Insight Timer, I believe it's called. They have so many different things for anxiety, depression, prompts, all of that. But just under the blanket, like just investing in your health, in your mental health, taking it seriously, showing up for yourself, reflecting on what's going on internally everywhere. I was doing that a lot too before I could afford health insurance, is just like chat GPT all my symptoms, which maybe that's really bad and that's bad advice for me to give you. But just like, trying to find healthy alternatives and just showing up for myself at the end of the day and taking care of my health, whether that meant looking up healthy recipes on TikTok, whether that meant downloading meditation apps, and then, that then was able to grow to being able to do therapy again, and, getting a good health insurance and going to the OBGYN and getting those scary results and doing my tests, just like stuff like that, going to Planned Parenthood if you don't have like your OBGYN, you know what I mean? There's just ways that we can show up for ourselves better, and I think I kind of neglected that for a while, of just like, I'm 20, blah, blah, blah. Granted, I'm not healthy. I've never been healthy. I have a heart condition. I have so many things wrong with me internally, so I was never necessarily able to be carefree, but I digress. I still kind of neglected that. I think definitely when I was in a relationship too, I was so focused on making sure that he was okay and his mental health was okay, and trying to show up for him. And then becoming single and mid all of this past year, I was kind of like, oh wait, I've been neglecting myself. Let me check in. And I'm so happy I did, because the test results were scary. We're fine now, we're figuring it out, but let that be a reminder as we're getting older. Let's do our yearly check-ins, you know what I mean? Let's get our blood work done. Let's check the hormones. Let's check in with our mental health. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what options are out there for us. That's a big lesson I learned, and I'm very grateful, and I'm very lucky, and I'm very happy that I'm now able to have a job where I can be offered health insurance. You know what I mean? But big lesson. Check in internally. Just because, we're in our 20s, we're fine, we're so young. My insides were not looking good, so that's a lesson I was reminded of this year. Another lesson I learned this year: do not judge yourself for how you deal with your own heartbreak. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn this year. I feel like when I went through heartbreak, when I was like 22, 23, I didn't judge myself, and I just did whatever the hell I wanted, and I got over it however the hell I wanted. This go around, 28, I was hyper aware of everything and overly judgmental, and just so in my head and so embarrassed. And again, that's where it comes back to those friends that are healthy and non-judgmental. I went through a spurt of like posting on TikTok a lot, and there were so many good audios when I was going through a breakup. I'm sorry, they were all relatable, and it's like every single time I'd be like, oh my god, this is so cringe, this is so embarrassing, which granted it probably was, and like I need to delete this. And my friends would be like, why are you judging how you get over a breakup? If the worst thing you're doing to get over this fucking breakup is posting audios on TikTok, so fucking be it. Really? That's the worst thing you're doing? Who the fuck cares? Because they're like, us personally, we want to kill this man. So if that's how you're getting over it, that's how you're getting over it. Why are we judging ourselves? We are silly little humans floating on a rock. If the way you get over a breakup is making cringe TikToks, so fucking be it. Send them to me and I will hype you up in the comments. Like, why are we judging ourselves? We just got our hearts ripped out of our chest and stomped on. Deal with the breakup however you want. And with the help of my friends, I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. They're like, you get a 6-month pass. For 6 months, you can do whatever the fuck you want and no one can judge you. You're going through a heartbreak. Everything you do is a green flag. And so I was noticing, after I got out of the TikTok phase, is I was then judging myself for my actions after a heartbreak, you know what I mean? If I was going on a lot of dates, or if I was just being crazy. I was getting out there. I was making sure I still had it, but then I would judge myself so much, and I would be like, wait, no, it's too soon, or it's this, it's that. And I was just my biggest judge. And it's like, Savannah, who cares? Like, who cares if you want to go out to the bar and do XYZ, or who cares if you want to go and do this and do that and be crazy and have a date, and as long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as the people that you're talking to are well aware of your situation, and you're not using people, and you're not trying to just distract. Well, maybe there were sometimes I was just trying to distract myself, but they were aware, you know what I mean? They were like, yeah, I'm a rebound, I'm well aware. I'm like, okay, perfect. Communication. But you are going through enough when you are going through a heartbreak and figuring everything out, especially when the heartbreak comes out of fucking left field and you are left trying to figure so much out. Don't judge yourself. Do not judge yourself. Give yourself grace. Give yourself love. Be kind to yourself. There is no right way to get through heartbreak. As long as you are not hurting yourself and you're not hurting others, and you are checking in with yourself, do what the fuck you gotta do. You're going through a goddamn heartbreak, okay? So that's a lesson I learned. It's not to fucking judge myself. Other people are doing that enough. Like, why are you gonna add that on? Going off of that, a big lesson I learned this year, guys. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. You knew the first time. You knew right away. Why are we shushing that little guy? No, we need to listen to it. We need to lean into it. We need to stop doing stuff for the plot if it involves our emotions, yeah? That's a big lesson I learned this year. We need to stop giving second chances to people that don't deserve it. That's a big lesson I learned. I don't really know how much more we need to get into that. If you heard my story time about how dating was ruined for me, and it's because I kept not listening to my gut and I kept giving second chances to these men that did not deserve even a first chance. So yeah, when I was 28, this go around, we're not doing that anymore. I am not doing that in this new 29 era of my life. If I feel a gut feeling, I'm gonna go, oh, there's a reason I'm having that feeling. Let me listen to it. Instead, 28 me going like, oh, I have a gut feeling, you know what, but she could be wrong, let's test it out, and then being proven that was a dumb thing to do, and then coming back and be like, well, what about a second chance? And I'm like, you know what, that's such a good idea, because I didn't listen to my gut this fucking first time. Let's go around again. Guess what, it was right. You knew, you know. Listen to your gut. Okay, let's start doing that this year, yeah? Now, this one was a hard lesson, and I'm still trying to figure this one out and fully accept it. Make space for the good things in your life instead of just like harping on the bad. It is a lesson I've learned. Is it a lesson I'm putting into practice constantly? Who's to say? No. But I am trying, and it is a lesson I've learned, and that is why I'm sharing it, okay? I think I am so used to bad things always happening to me. Ask my friends. Anytime they check in with me, they're like, are you fucking kidding me? And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm known to not be able to catch a break. But this is what I'm learning and I'm trying to put into practice is I'm very fucking lucky. I live a beautiful life. I am well aware of that. I have a fucking roof over my head. I have a job. You know, I have a steady job. I have so many beautiful, amazing things. And I think I can get so focused and wrapped up in all these shitty little things that happen, or shitty situations, or, you know, the breakup that happened, and the fact that I still fucking work with my ex. I see that man every goddamn day of my life. And it's because I got him that job. So, you know what I mean? It's silly little cute things like that I can easily, like, just hyper fixate on and be like, wow, that's really shitty. I'm learning that there's so many other bigger and better things to focus on and to put my energy into that. And it's hard. It's hard, but it's something I've realized. And I've realized that if I just keep focusing on the bad, more bad is just going to come, because that is the only energy I'm putting out there. But if I'm focusing on the beautiful things, I'm then opening up myself to more beautiful things. And then shit just kind of starts working out. You know what I mean? So that's a lesson. Hit you with that one. I'm trying my best to do it. This one, lesson 10. Don't beat yourself up for overstaying your welcome in a situation. At the end of the day, we learn something from it. That's what life is all about. That is especially what your 20s are about. You are growing, you are changing, you are learning. And we can't beat ourselves up for giving someone our all. Why does that make me emotional? Okay, sorry. I'm on my period. That is a huge thing I learned in my 28th year, is for a really, really long time after my breakup, I was so mad at myself and so regretful because I knew for a really long time that I wasn't being treated how I deserved. I knew I wasn't being loved correctly. And as more and more time went on after the relationship ended, I realized how much energy I was putting into that and how much life was drained out of me. And it's so crazy to reflect, because it's like while I was in it, I didn't even realize it, because I was like, oh, I'm still doing my acting, I'm still doing my modeling, like, and now out of it, I'm like, oh wow, no, it was just a every moment kind of thing that I was in it, because I was always worried about why I wasn't good enough, why I wasn't this, why I wasn't that, why doesn't he think I'm beautiful, why, like, it was just energy constantly, and constantly trying to help fix him and worry about his mental health and everything, like I've kind of touched on in this episode, that I just completely neglected myself. So once I then started realizing that, once the breakup happened, I then was just getting mad at myself, because I was like, wow, I wasted so much time. I wasted my my 20s, wow, that's such a good year, and I could have done so much during 28, and there's so many other things I could have gotten done, and just like beating myself up about overstaying my welcome. And finally, this is like a recent realization and growth and lesson that I've learned, is I was like, Savannah, what is there to do about it now? And having to flip the situation and trying to tell myself that, look how much you learned from that. Look at the fact that now you'll never fucking do that again. Look at the fact that now you know to listen to your gut, and you know to listen and read the room, and to listen to actions and not words from a partner. And there's still so much beauty in it. There's so much I learned from it. And I'm just learning to not beat myself up and find the beauty in the fact that I can love the wrong person that much. If I can love the wrong person that much, I can only imagine how much I can love the right person, and how beautiful it will be to receive that same energy back. And just trying to flip the script and knowing that, yeah, you kind of used up a year and a half trying to do that and figure that out, but it's better than 10, 12, 15, like, you know what I mean? It's better than having married him and spending my whole life like that. And now it's a lesson I'm not ever gonna have to learn again, and I'm never gonna put myself in that situation again. That is a big lesson I've learned this year, is not to beat yourself up for overstaying your welcome. Never beat yourself up for giving someone unconditional love. Never beat yourself up for trying to be the bigger person and be there for them, and for taking someone's word. Like, I'm sorry, we have big hearts and a fat ass. Anyways, this has to go right from that. Learn this lesson the hard way, just like mentally, is accept your new self. Don't feel shame for outgrowing the old you, and don't feel shame for outgrowing friends. The last 6 months of being 28, I grew so much randomly. You know, I'm sure it's like the heartbreak and the this and the that, and just growing, because we're fucking humans, and one little thing can alter so much for us. But I was like, wait, but that's not who I am, and wait, and it's just like, no one said you had to stay that same person forever. And granted, I'm still like the same core person. I think like who I am as a person, as in my personality and my fucking just my core, like that has never changed. But just, you know, smaller little things, you know, hobbies and what you like, and who you like and who you don't like, and where you want to spend your time, and what you want out of life. Like little things, like you're growing, you're changing, and it is, like I've said before, the most beautiful thing, and it is what I love about my 20s. And it makes me so sad that I'm going to be in my last year of my 20s, but it also makes me so excited for my 30s. But accepting that I was once again my harshest critic, and I would just be like, wait, but who cares? You're growing, you're changing. Don't feel bad for letting go of the things that no longer fit you. You outgrew it. Put it in the bag and take it to Goodwill. It's fine, okay? Don't be scared of change, and don't judge yourself for changing. As long as it's like growing, and like I keep saying, you're not hurting anyone, you're not doing anyone wrong, and you feel like you are becoming a better person, even if it's growth and you maybe not. You know, I did some toxic shit in my 28th year, and I was like, that was a little embarrassing. But guess what? I fucking learned something from it, and I'm happy it happened that way. It is what it is. But once again, like I've stated before, enough people are judging me. I'm not going to then do that to myself. I'm going to give myself grace. I'm going to accept this new version of me and fucking welcome her with open arms. And have I done that all the time? No. Is that something I learned to do? Yes. And is it something I love? Yeah. You know what? If I wake up fucking tomorrow and that sounded wrong. If I wake up tomorrow and I want to be a completely different version of myself, so be it. So be it. That's what your 20s are. That's what life is. Nothing's that serious. I'm happy we had that talk. Big lesson. I feel like I already hit on this, but a huge thing this year, a theme, if you will. Friends made my life worth living. And that sounds so drama, but truly friends made my life worth living, especially this past year for me. That is a huge, I don't know if that's a lesson, but that's just like a huge thing that I became aware of and grateful for. And like friendship is something that I probably hyper fixated on this year. But because at the end of the day, it is the only constant, beautiful thing that I have. With all the craziness and change and up and down and roller coaster that I have in my life, the constant is my friends and their loyalty and them being there for me, and no matter what, them always putting a fucking smile on my face. And it is something, like I've already said, that I cherish so much. And this past 28th year, I've cherished more than anything. And I've learned that a fucking girls' night out and a margarita with some chips and dip and then going dancing will cure depression. That has cured me alone. For a while, I was like, okay, Friday night, girls' night. Do you know what that was doing for my soul? That would bring me back from the dead. Back from the dead. A girls' night will cure all. That is a lesson I learned on my 28th year on this fucking earth. I am so grateful for it. Big group, small group, one-on-one, me and my bestie go out. We don't even have to drink. We don't have to get drunk. We just go out and we dance. I am unstoppable. I am God. What it does for my confidence, fucking getting a good picture for the gram and like getting dressed up, having her take a little digi photo of me and hyping me up. I am unstoppable. Add a margarita in my hand and I am the happiest person on earth. I don't give a fuck what just happened that past week. I am amazing. That is a huge lesson I learned this year, is girls' night will cure all. Okay? And I'm so grateful for it. Another thing I learned, buy the goddamn ticket. Buy the ticket. I don't care if it's a ticket for a flight, for a concert, for the circus, buy the ticket. If it's something that you want to do and you keep thinking about it and you don't want to miss out and you this and you that, oh, but I have credit card debt, oh, but I this, rack it up. I don't care. We're in our 20s. Granted, I have a lot of credit card debt now, but I have never regretted buying the ticket. And I know damn well I would have regretted if I was like, no, let me save. And that is a huge thing I learned this year. I went to Italy and I was so back and forth, and it was gonna be with like two of my close friends, and we were gonna go for a wedding, and I was so like, no, that's not the financially smart thing to do. I shouldn't do that. Flights are expensive. Oh, and then that was the best trip of my entire life, and I am not even being dramatic. Like, that trip to Italy this summer changed my life in so many ways, and that is not me even like hyping that up. I met an amazing human that has changed my life. That alone. I grew so much on that trip. Traveling alone in your 20s is also a huge lesson I learned that is so important for just your fucking growth and your character development, especially when you're doing flying from LA to Italy solo is not for the weak, okay? Traveling solo in your 20s, I think definitely everyone needs to do it safely, but needs to do, even if it's doing the flight by yourself while you go and you know, the destination is with friends. That's what I did with Italy, and I had never done such a long flight, and I have crippling flight anxiety. And to do that flight and to travel, and you know, my friends missed their connecting, so I really had to travel alone. We were supposed to meet up in Frankfurt, and having to figure out the fucking train station in a country you've never been in and find your hotel after 20 hours of travel. Like, the character development that I had, that changed me alone as a person. I felt unstoppable. I was like, the confidence I got from my trip to Italy alone, worth every goddamn penny. The memories I made, like, it just, all of it was so beautiful, and I cannot imagine the regret and the anger I would have felt if I didn't go on that trip because I wanted to save some money. So worth it. I mean, obviously, within our financial, I put it all on the credit card, whatever, it's fine. But I'm like, I'm only this young and this hot once. Are you kidding me? Yes, I'm going to have a summer in Italy. I am single. My girlfriends are all single. It was amazing. And it truly did change me, like, as a person. And that sounds so dramatic, but to see a place so beautiful, to see different culture, to fucking do a travel 24 hours by myself and figure out all the shit I figured out and get through a flight with that intense flight anxiety. I mean, Xanax got me through that flight. That confidence you feel after realizing you can travel alone and figure out a fucking train station by yourself, and you don't speak the language and you don't know where you're going and you've never been there before, and you can get the car. Like, I was God. I was walking on water. That trip was amazing. So buy the ticket. That is a lesson I have learned my 20s, and especially this past year, is buy the ticket. And granted, there was a lot of other tickets I couldn't buy because I bought that trip to Italy, but it was so worth it. I was there for 10 days. It was the most amazing thing. Like, when else am I going to be in my 20s, single, hot? My two other girlfriends were single. We were there for a wedding. We got to see this beautiful love story, but then we also got to go and like roam around and do all the things that we wanted and just have so much fun and have freedom and oh my God, buy the ticket. Buy the ticket to whatever it is. If we shall be so lucky to have the means or to have the credit on our credit card to be able to buy that ticket, buy it. And then we'll pay it off and whatever, it'll be a whole thing. We work too hard and we're too hot and we're too fun to just sit at home because we don't want to put a little bit more credit on the credit card. Okay? Buy the ticket. And it doesn't have to be buy the ticket to this crazy European summer, blah, blah, blah. It can be buy the ticket to go to your favorite artist. You're never going to regret that. Just buy the ticket. Whatever form, whatever ticket that is, we're at least allowed one of those a year. We work hard, okay? Buy the ticket. And one of the second to last things that I've learned my 28th year, especially my 28th year because, getting older and older, you can't judge your timeline. And it is a really hard thing for me. I can't say that I have mastered this, but, being 28, I'm at that age where I am now going to my friends' weddings. I am holding my friends' babies. I am hearing about job promotions. I am watching my friends get their dream job. I am watching them get their huge salaries. I am watching all these crazy milestones, and you always hear about it like, oh, you're gonna watch, all your friends are gonna get married, haha. And it's like, hi, okay, no, we're young, that would never happen. And then you get to my age and it's happening. While that was all happening and I was going to weddings and I was cheering them on and I, so happy for all of my friends, I was sitting there going through a breakup and not working my dream job and not where I want to be, and my partner just moved out of our apartment and I have to find someone to move in with me and start from scratch. I'm 28 and I'm living with a roommate and I'm this and I'm that, being so hard on myself, comparing myself to others that are my age, to others that are younger to me too. That is a huge thing in LA. Knowing 25-year-olds that, make triple what I make, or got this huge promotion, or have been in this great there's just so many things that we can judge ourselves on and compare. And who is that helping? Who is that helping? I mean, there's so much I can get into this, but the bottom line is stop. That's what I have to do myself. I have to be shut up. It doesn't matter. No one's life is the same. No one's journey is the same. You had things that happened. They had things that happened that got them there. You can be happy for them. You can cheer them on. You can support them. But that doesn't mean that you need to compare yourself. Because it is what it is. You know what I mean? I can go in circles about I've been in LA for 5 years and I'm not where I want to be. And she's only been here for 4 years and she's way more successful than me. You know how hard it is not to compare yourself, especially in LA, especially on social media, all these things. And it's just you don't know the full story. Be happy for them. Do not get stuck there. You can't beat yourself up, okay? We cannot judge or compare other timelines to ours. And it's hard. And it's going to be something that I continue to struggle with, especially I know when I'm going into turning 29, more people are just going to be getting engaged. More and more people are just going to get promotions or buy houses or this or that. But you know what I was able to do? Survive LA, do it by myself, get myself out of every shitty situation, find a new roommate, and guess what? She's amazing. I love her. She bought me that. I'm sorry. That's adorable. That's so thoughtful. We're fine. It is what it is. We cannot compare our journey to others. It is going to do no good, and that's that. And the last and final lesson I have learned for my 28th year, and it makes me emotional, but it is the most important thing and biggest thing that I have learned, is this dramatic moment, and then Cora started eating her ass, so please stop. But I have learned now more than ever that things get better. Things get better. It is so crazy because before I recorded this, I went on my iPhone and I looked up the whole where you were 1 year ago today. It was so different. I had just moved into this apartment. I was with the quote unquote love of my life. I was so excited, but also so not myself, not present. I wasn't chasing anything. My drive had gone away. I was really depressed. I had a lot of health issues. I had really bad anxiety. So many things. When I was looking back at the photos, I'm oh, she didn't even realize that she was so depressed, or she was this, or she was that. A couple months into me being 28 is when the whole breakup and everything happened, and my world completely turned upside down, you know, for many reasons. We had a dog together, we had a place together, we worked together, we had mutual friends. Like, so much shifted overnight. I did not see the light at the end of the tunnel at all. I was like, okay, cool, I'm 28, I'm now single, I now need to find a roommate, am I losing my dog that I got with this man? I work with this man. I'm not nearly successful as I thought I would be by this age in acting or in modeling or anything. I don't have any creative projects. The list went on and on and on. And now, about to be 29, I am like shocked at how beautiful everything has turned out. And it's not perfect. I live in the same apartment. We just renewed our lease. I have met an amazing person that I now get to live with. I got the most beautiful friendships out of the hard times from this past year. I have traveled more than I ever expected. I definitely would not have done half of the shit I did if I was with my partner still, if I was still in that relationship. I have seen so many things. I have grown. I have gone out. I've like lived life to the fullest, and I can't believe that. I can't believe that it got better. I have grown so much more in love with myself. I am so proud of myself for the things I've gotten through. I am so much more confident in myself. The amount of energy I've put back into myself and my health and my wellness and getting really fit and getting really confident and putting my love into my dogs and being so grateful that I have both of them now, and my friendships, and just like so many things that I wasn't even aware that I was lacking in my life, and then hit rock bottom. I didn't think it would get better, and I was like so ashamed and embarrassed of where I was in my life. You know, when you go back home and you visit family and every single person in the family is married and has kids and is like has a successful job and a house. That's me, for my family at least. Like, I am quite literally the only one in my family that is not married or doesn't own property or doesn't work a successful job. Like, that dead ass, not even being dramatic. Like, I am the only one. So I get really down on myself and I feel very embarrassed. And for a while I was like, oh, well, I'm accepted. And like, hey, I have a relationship. I have this relationship. I have a boyfriend. Like, I have that. Even though I don't have XYZ, I have that. And so it's like, when I lost that, I was like, oh, I have nothing. Like this. Oh, okay. It just keeps getting worse. I thought like the next step was going to be like, I get another good thing to like make people think I'm accomplished. That's such a shit way of thinking. And that is another thing I've learned is, like I keep saying, who cares? But guess what? It gets better. And it got so much better. And it got better than what it ever was before in my 20s. And it got better than what I ever thought it could be. And there's so much more room for it to get even more and more filled with love and experiences. And I have so many more people that I get to meet and love and memories, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to turn 29 because I've learned you cannot guess what the fuck is gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's like when it's your birthday and you're like, I can't wait to do this, do that, and like this is how, you know, this year is gonna go for me. I could not have been more fucking wrong. When I look back at my birthday last year compared to this year, or where you were 1 year ago today, it is so different, and it is the scariest, craziest, most beautiful thing. Welcome to your 20s. I love it. I eat it up. I can't wait to see where I'm at when I'm turning, like when I'm doing this next year. And that is a huge reason, again, why I started this podcast, because like I want these moments to look back at, and if no one else is going to enjoy it, and if everyone else is going to judge me, well, guess what? When I'm old, I can show my kids and I can reflect on this and I can be like, look at all these things your mom learned. Wow. Look at, she was never going to guess that this is where her life was going to go. And thank God I have this to look back on. And what a beautiful thing, because I just can't even believe half of the things that have happened in my life this last 6 months. I've met some really shitty people. I met some really amazing people. And I can confidently say at the end of me being 28, compared to when I had just turned 28, I have never felt more loved, I have never felt more seen. I have never felt more appreciated. I've never felt more confident. I have never felt more sure of what I want in life. I'm so excited for my love life. I'm so excited for what I have in my life right now regarding personal relationships and romantic relationships. And I know I haven't touched on that, but I have a big trip coming up, and I will have just recently turned 29, and I hope that sets the tone for what 29 is going to be. And if it all goes to shit, then guess what? I now know only better is going to come from that. And I think that is the most beautiful lesson I've learned, is that it gets better. Even though you really, really think it might not, it does. It gets better in ways that you wouldn't have ever imagined. It just makes me so excited for the future, because I know no matter what, I'm not going to make the wrong decision. And I know no matter what, I'm going to grow or learn from each situation I'm in. And I know that whatever's meant for me is not going to pass me. And I think I'm just going to go into that mindset for 29. And by the time this episode is out, I'll already be 29. So I guess we'll see how the hell it's going. But those are some of the lessons I learned for 28. And I hope this maybe helped someone. Or I hope you laughed. Or I hope you also felt seen. Or I hope maybe you're wondering about some of these lessons, and now you know, so you don't have to go through it all. But please take away, if you're in a bad place, if you're in a dark place, if you're going through it in whatever capacity, I'm here to tell you it gets better. I'm not going to say time heals all or some shit like that, but just know it gets better. And it gets better when you least expect it. Truly. Buy that ticket. Okay? You don't know who's waiting in that other country for you, or what experiences are waiting for you on the other end. We're just humans, and it is what it is. So thank you guys for listening to me babble about all the lessons I've learned. If you want to see how life is going currently, follow along. You follow my personal Instagram at Savannahmares, or you can follow the podcast page, which I would love and adore. It is what it is with Van. I also have my interview page, On the Street with Van. You can find me everywhere. I'm fucking managing like 4 different pages for myself. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, but I'm so happy, and I'm putting energy into what I want to do. And it would mean so much to me if you follow along, you share this episode, you give it a good rating. I don't know, whatever the kids are doing, do it. If you see my TikToks, repost them, like them, share, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. This is my last episode, being 28. Oh my god. And we're just gonna get hotter and hotter with age. It's so exciting. Bye, guys. Happy birthday to me. Virgos are the best. And I say that with my chest. Ooh, that was a ring to it.